Hello, I'm Emma.
And I'm Ellie.
And together we are E Squared.
Welcome back to another episode of Campus Chronicles.
The show brought to you by students for students.
And what are we doing today, Emma?
Today we have a midterm and spring break episode for everyone because guess what is coming up soon?
Is it midterm and spring break?
Wait, how'd you guess?
I know, right? And we know this is like only semi-applicable for some of you. I already did one of my midterms. So.
Yeah, me too. I did one yesterday.
But hopefully by the time you're hearing this, you'll still have a couple left, or maybe not. Hopefully you did good on yours already, and are just enjoying your break. But
Yeah, but I think it's like recent enough that people do still have midterms by the time this comes out. So yeah.
Well, what we're trying to say is hopefully you'll take away something from this episode if you do have midterms, and maybe help to apply that to your studies.
And spring break is also coming up, which I'm super excited about. And so we just wrote in some tips on how to stay safe, how to use your time wisely, and stuff like that for when spring break rolls around in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so get excited for that, everyone. We're back to the slips of paper in a hat format.
Yes, because if it's not broke, don't fix it. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, so today I will be drawing our first piece of advice from the hat, and that is number 6 for spring break. We divided it into 2 sections this time. High tech, right? Okay. Prepare for the next bit of the semester. So whether that's like cleaning out your backpack, looking over Canvas to see, what stuff might be coming up, clothes shopping, school shopping, just get prepared for whenever you start to come back to school.
Basically we're just saying, like, I know it's super easy to go on spring break and just be like, oh my gosh, I'm on a break, I don't have to think about school. But unfortunately, the semester is not over, or maybe fortunately for some. I'm not saying school's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But the semester isn't over yet just because you go on spring break. So you should do a little bit to just refresh and recharge and get ready to come back like stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember over Thanksgiving break last semester, I completely forgot to attend to anything after the break, and it ended up being really bad. So don't be like me. Just, make sure you take that time to set aside your responsibilities and, get all your stuff in order before coming back.
Yeah, and I really want to highlight that I put on there clean out your backpack because that's something I always forget to do. And then I'm like, why do I have so many papers I've already turned in, or like trash that I just forgot to throw in the trash can, you know what I mean? So just make sure to clean out your backpack. It really helps to have a little fresh start in that way.
I think I have like a swimsuit and maybe 10 flashlights in my backpack.
Like, that is so random. Like, clean out your backpack, Ellie.
Yeah, so clean out your backpack. It's good. Just, always a good thing to try.
And this way you can come back when spring break is over stronger, and then you can finish even stronger. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next one is spring break 1. Okay, this one says, take time to recover from the first half of the semester, see what you did well, and what can use improvement for the next part of the semester, which actually ties right into what we were just talking about. Just maybe look over your assignments that you've done, be like, oh, I could have done a little better on this, or I really like that I did this on this one, you know what I mean? So when you come back, you can be like, okay, for the next assignment that's like this one, I should do this instead of this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you, just kind of take time to take stock of your situation, you can come back with a clearer head and just see what you did good, what you did bad. I know that, in semesters past, I've come back with more knowledge of how to do stuff because I failed in previous aspects in the prior semester. So it's just learning from those mistakes and those failures and applying them to your life. That just really helps you with your, well, I was going to say like school, but it could be anything in your life.
Yeah, it could be anything. So. And the way we grow is by making mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So by looking back at your mistakes, you shouldn't wallow in them. That's not what I'm saying. Maybe you like bombed a test really bad and you're like, dang it, why did I do that? But it's fine because that's part of what makes us human, and it can help us be better going forward. You know what I mean? Which is also just a piece of life advice in general, but it also is very applicable to when you come back from spring break, for schoolwork, for regular work, and everything.
Yeah, so just make sure over break you're taking time to reflect on your school year maybe and how you're going to, take some of what you've learned from the last part of the semester into this part of the semester.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And for our next point, we have midterms number 4, which is, let me see. Make sure to rest up as much as possible before your midterms. Good sleep can good sleep can drastically improve your ability to do well in your project, lending you an advantage. This is something I probably should have done last night. I stayed up till 3. And I know that's like, common college experience, just cramming for a test or a midterm or something like that. But the less you can do that, the better it is for you in every aspect.
And the key point to remember here is to do what she says and not what she does. You know what I mean?
Do not lead by example in my
But yeah, it is very important to rest up before you have a big test, especially if you're going to be like staring at a computer, 'cause sometimes that can make you a little sleepy, or your mind will be all foggy and you're like, I can't remember anything we've talked about all semester because you didn't get good sleep last night. You know what I mean? So
yeah, sometimes you'll come into work and half coherently do a podcast and
I mean, what? You never do that.
Nah, but yeah, just make sure you give yourself time to prep for your stuff. Just like, tests, assignments, just group
Maybe
projects.
you have a big project and you have to talk to random people from your class who you've never talked to, and you're like, dang it, this would be so much easier to be social right now if I had gotten good sleep last night.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just make sure to get good rest. What I did was I didn't study for the thing I had to do for like maybe a month or so.
Oh my
and I crammed it all last
gosh.
night. So if you can just, set aside maybe like 10 minutes a day just to study or do an assignment or, just contribute to something in some small way, it'll help you in the long run where you don't have to do what I did last night or this morning. So
yeah, once again, do as she says, not as she does. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
And another thing to remember with that is that even like you can be locked in the whole time and then sometimes you'll make a mistake. You know what I mean? Like even last night, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a midterm due at midnight, and it was like 11 when I noticed that, which is good. It was better than noticing it at 11:50, you know what I mean? But everybody makes mistakes. It's human to mess up, like we were just saying, and just take our advice and your life will be a little bit easier next time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or for your upcoming midterms.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one I drew is midterms 5, which is right under this. Okay, so it says to get together with your classmates, your professor, or the tutoring center to study up before your midterm. It's good to talk things through with knowledgeable people before doing something that requires skill.
Yeah.
Which I actually like that. I think it's a really good piece of advice, and I like that you said knowledgeable people, but I actually disagree with that. I think it can be good to talk to, obviously, if you are struggling really bad, you should talk to the professor in your tutoring center, but sometimes talking it through with people on your level can help you more than that, you know what I mean? Because no,
I get what you're saying. There's this thing in programming called, I think it's like rubber ducking, where you set a little rubber ducky down next to you while you're running some code, and if there's an issue, you talk the code through to the rubber ducky. And it's just like sort of mirroring yourself and listening to your own mistakes. And eventually, hopefully, you'll find the thing. I guess, apply that to someone, like an actual person.
I mean, probably don't talk to a rubber ducky if
you can
you're
if you want to.
I mean, you can. But if you find it helpful to talk to people on your level, you should talk to maybe just someone in your class. Be like, hey, are you kind of struggling with this too? And then maybe you get one part of it that they don't get, and then they get the other part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like the other day in my composition class, we had to correct really, really, really misspelled sentences, and the person sitting next to me had no idea what one of them meant, and it was nice because I had no idea what the exact same one meant. And so we sort of consulted each other on the same issue and came to a conclusion, and were able to move on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just talk to the people around you. Once again, no one's going to bite.
Sometimes more brains are better than one. You know what I mean? And that actually reminds me of choir. We were in choir last night, and we had gotten a new piece of music, and it was Italian. I don't speak Italian. And we were doing sectional, so we were with our accompanist. How do you say it?
Accompanist.
Yeah. Pianist.
Yeah, pianist.
Okay, sorry. And she didn't speak Italian either, so all of us just worked together to sound out the words, and we're like, yeah, this is pretty good, and then we actually got them pretty close. So sometimes just working it through with people who maybe don't understand it, but at least you have multiple ways to look at it, you know?
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, our next point is midterms number 2, which is set aside time to actually study for your test. Maybe study for 30 minutes per class, and you don't have to do all 30-minute intervals, but, just one after another. So that's kind of what I did last night, once again, is I would do my project for about 15 minutes, and then I'd take a 5-minute phone break. And it really helped me just to continue going and not give up.
Yeah.
Because if I just worked on it until 3 a.m., I don't think I would have made it. Oh man. So yeah, it's nice to take breaks.
Yeah, and even if like you're not rushing to get a project done like Ellie was last night, you know what I mean? You can still like just throughout the week leading up to your midterm, maybe you're super nervous about it. But if you set aside 30 minutes a day to study, then you feel a little more confident the first day. And then if you do it the second day, you feel a little more confident than you did the first day. You know what I mean? And my point for this one is, okay, yes, maybe set aside 30 minutes or something like that, but you don't have to do 30 minutes intervals like for 6 hours straight. You know what I mean? You can do like 1 a day or 2 a day. Yeah. And you don't have to do them right after one another. You can do like 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night. You know what I mean? Just whatever works for you.
Yeah, it's okay not to cram. Just, make sure you're doing it.
Yeah, as long as you just get some in there. And it doesn't have to be 30 minutes. It could be 5. It could be an hour, you know what I mean? Like I said, whatever works for you, and maybe it'll help you feel a little more confident when the midterm actually does roll around.
Yeah.
Okay, the next point I drew is spring break number 4, which says make sure to enrich yourself over break. Take yourself on walks, hang out with your friends, play games, ride a bike, etc. Anything to get you up and moving throughout the week. And it can literally be anything. It doesn't have to be any of those things that we just mentioned. I mean, obviously they are fun to do, but you could play some video games, honestly. You know what I mean? Maybe there's a video game you've been really wanting to play and you haven't had the chance to play it because you've been so busy. Just do something that you look forward to so you can have a little treat for yourself over the break.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to break out of routine, especially when you're getting tired of said routine. I mean, I know for me it's like, come to work, go to school, come to work, go to school, and that's day after day, and then there's the weekend, and weekends are nice, but it's still part of the routine. So having that like maybe week and a half of break, I'm really looking forward to that, so I can do some of my own stuff, take some me time,
maybe like go up to Durango.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to Albuquerque for my birthday.
Albuquerque,
which is so exciting.
Everyone say happy birthday, Emma.
Yeah, thank you. And it's just do something that will make you happy, break out of your routine, do anything to just get you out of that little bubble that you're always in, because every day seems the same in college. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, maybe take some time to do the things you've been putting off in your, normal personal life. For me, it's cleaning my room. So hopefully I will do that over the break. And, yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I honestly don't have a lot of free time lately because I started working another job on top of this one. But I'm super excited to just have a moment to myself and to be able to, not do anything for a little bit. You know what I mean? And hang out with my friends.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry. Our next point is midterm 6. If you believe you're going to have a hard time during your midterm due to things outside of your control, it's okay to ask for accommodations. This could be like maybe using headphones during the test, taking the test somewhere else, or maybe even asking for more time if your professor's willing to do that.
Yeah.
Just depending on your needs, the college might be able to accommodate you.
Yeah, and the college is super good. There's a lot of resources here that you can use to get accommodations like that. You know what I mean? I'm sure any professor on campus would be willing to give you headphones if maybe you needed the words on the test read aloud. You know what I mean? Or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, most of the professors I've met here are super understanding of things like that, so don't be afraid to ask. I mean, I know back in high school, I was offered some accommodations for some stuff, so that was kind of nice. So just if you still need that or didn't take advantage of it, back when you were still in high school or wherever, it's okay to ask. I mean, yeah,
and maybe it's not they don't mention it as much as they might have in high school or whatever, but I'm sure they still have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you need something like that, don't be afraid to ask. And it's not embarrassing to need like maybe a little extra time on the test sometimes. Sometimes it's just not your day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes you stay up till 3 a.m. and
No, we're not promoting that.
Sensing a common theme.
But yeah, I think it's pretty okay to maybe even just like taking the test in a different room than everyone else sometimes can help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because maybe sometimes your anxiety around taking a test will be like, oh my gosh, what if there's so much background noise I can't concentrate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is Spring Break 3, which says, it's okay to have a lame spring break, in quotation marks. The connotation of spring break itself is that you have to party and travel and do all this stuff, but in reality, the point is just to have a break. You know what I mean? Because you're doing things constantly all the time in college, so just to have a week off is super nice. It's okay to just take the time to relax.
Yeah, like, even if, other people are doing cool stuff that you know of. I mean, I know a couple of my friends are, and I'm a little jealous of that, so shout out to you guys. I'm probably just going to take the break to, relax, lay down more. Just, take away some time from college and my life here.
Yeah.
Just, really, really get to spend some time at home with my family and with my hobbies and just whatever I choose to do over the break.
Yeah. And like sometimes you see people and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to Miami over spring break. And you're like, all I'm doing is just laying in my bed. But it's okay. Like, however you want to spend your spring break is how you should spend your spring break. And it's okay if that's lame by some people's standards, because as long as you're having a good time and getting some rest, that's all that matters.
Yeah. So just do whatever makes you happy. Once again, comparison is the thief of joy. I know we say that like every episode, but it's true.
But because when a popular saying, or when a saying is popular, it's popular for a reason, because it works.
Yeah. So, anyways. Okay, cool. So our next point is... that is midterm 1, which is, don't neglect your work for other classes if one of your classes has a really big midterm that you need to do. Just because it's causing you stress doesn't mean you can ignore everything else.
Which I have a really bad habit about doing this, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I just have to get this essay done. You know what I mean? But also you have 4 assignments for your other class at the same time. You know what I mean? And maybe it's, yes, do the thing that's more pressing first, but do the other things too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is hard to like compartmentalize sometimes, but it's important to get all your work done regardless of how many points it's worth, because it really can make a difference at the end of the semester.
Yeah, especially for like smaller assignments and stuff like that. I know I had a class last semester that had a bunch of small assignments that I just didn't do. And at the end of the semester, it like really, really piled up and dropped my grade significantly. So make sure you're doing things even if they don't seem that important at the moment, just because, they probably will be important at some point.
And it is good to focus more energy on getting a big assignment worth like 500 points done, but that doesn't mean you just focus on that only. You know what I mean? Maybe you spend more time towards it, but you shouldn't just completely ignore everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one we have is midterm 3, which says to visualize your success before taking the test. You'll do worse if you don't believe in your own abilities, so make sure to have a positive mindset about your abilities before going in, which is something I super strongly agree with. I always say to people, like, when they're complaining to me about everything in their life, I'm like, you can never have a positive life if you have a negative mindset. Because if you're constantly just talking about, oh my gosh, I'm going to bomb this midterm, or I'm going to bomb this test, then chances are you go into it feeling less confident than you would if you were like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do really good on this. And even if you don't do that good, at least you feel more confident in yourself and it helps you do better.
Yeah, just like have a little faith in yourself and your abilities. You made it to college, you've made it like, this far into class. If you've done that, you can do this. So,
yeah. And it really is important to believe in yourself. You shouldn't just be down on yourself all the time. Maybe if you're struggling with a class a little more, it's not embarrassing to go and need help. Like, you shouldn't be so down on yourself all the time. You should have a positive mindset about things, and it'll really help you have an easier time in general.
Yeah. Whether it's just like giving yourself a small pep talk before a big, thing, a big event, or, just giving yourself a finger gun in the mirror in the morning. Just anything to sort of boost your ego a little.
Yeah, and maybe you, have a speech you need to do in your class, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be the best person ever in this class right now. And then when you actually do good on it, you're like, oh my gosh, I did so good. And it's exciting because you were telling everyone you were going to do good, and then it's not embarrassing that you did bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's, to clarify, it's not embarrassing to do bad in general. But you feel good about yourself when you, you have more confidence in yourself, and then you do good.
Yeah. Anyways, so for our next and final point, we have spring break number 2. Which is to be safe over spring break, whatever you choose to do. Make sure you're doing it safely. This could, include knowing your limits, being careful who you're hanging out with, or, setting ground rules before you get anything. We strongly do not condone any bad doing.
Underage substance usage.
Yeah.
But we do also know that the, connotation, once again, of spring break is that people might be doing things like that. And I think don't do it anyway, but if you're going to do it, make sure you're being safe about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Once again, we do not condone this in any way, shape, or form, but just if you
and
get
also in general, even if you
chance.
are of age, just make sure that you know your limits. Don't go too crazy. Be careful who you're hanging out with.
Of course, yeah.
Be careful what settings you're in, too. You know what I mean?
It's always good to be safe around, anything like that.
Yeah,
So,
and even in general, even if maybe you're going to the lake over spring break, you know what I mean? Just make sure you have a safety vest. You know what I mean? Just make sure you're watching your back. Watch out for your friends. Don't let the heat of the moment distract you and let people get hurt because you're just having too much fun to pay attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If your friends were jumping off a cliff, would you? The answer should only be yes if you know how to swim and you're cave diving.
And yeah, that pretty much sums up our episode for today. We hope everyone does super good on their midterms, and I think we're not going to have an episode over spring break because we will be on break.
Yeah.
So we also hope that everyone has a really good spring break.
Yeah, so we'll see you all again next time. Once again, thank you for tuning in to Campus Chronicles, and yeah.
We'll catch you in the next one, and like we said, we hope you have a good spring break, good midterms, and a good day.
Cool. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.